You're listening to the Floyd Main Street Podcast. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Lucas Graham, back for another edition of this week's Floyd Main Street Podcast. Joining me are our co-hosts, Chad Harris and Eric Branscombe. Fellas, how y'all doing today?
Lucas, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. Chad,
Hey,
how
I'm
you?
doing good, man.
We got some stories to talk about this week. There's some big news in Floyd this week. We're going to uncover that. We're going to talk about some happenings, some music, and some events. Everything from more cruise-ins to tractor fun runs and all kinds of stuff that sounds like it fits Floyd County. So we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. This week, our headline is breaking news, actually. I would consider this breaking news. The county administrator, our local government, has resigned from her position as the county administrator. Fellas, that is some pretty surprising news. It seemed like that kind of
came out of the blue.
It did.
Dr. Linda Millsaps, I forget how long she's been on there, about 4
years.
There was a closed session of the Board of Supervisors on Thursday evening at 10:46 p.m. An email was sent out to all county employees that states as follows. As county attorney for Floyd County, this is from Steve Durbin, I have been directed by the Board of Supervisors to request that you forward the following message to all county employees. Dr. Millsaps resigned as county administrator this evening, and the Board of Supervisors has voted to accept her resignation. The board thanks Dr. Millsaps for her contributions and service to the county. The board will begin the process for the search for a new county administrator immediately. In the meantime, the board has designated Kim Chido to serve as acting county administrator. Please direct all inquiries from the public to the county attorney. That's signed by Steve V. Durbin, Sands Anderson, PC.
What do you think about that, Eric?
It's interesting that it takes place immediately. That's there's not waiting until the end of the month. Not waiting until the end of the week. It's
Unfortunately, if it's a personnel issue, we'll never know what really happened. But, I do feel like there will be more come out on this later down the road, don't you?
I don't really know because this is a closed session, and it's one of several we've had. We've been noting that over the past few weeks that we have seen these closed sessions, and this was a closed session that was held out of the county. It was held over at the offices of Sands Anderson over in on Peppers Ferry Road in Christiansburg.
That should be a pretty appealing salary for somebody new looking to come into that position.
And when you look for somebody for that position, you look for somebody that's got some experience doing that kind of work, as well as have good enough resume to be able to justify being in there. But I do note that one of the things it says in that is that any inquiries from the public be directed to the county attorney. So I can tell you the number of that is to Mr. Durbin at 540-260-9011.
all right.
Good deal.
And like you said, Eric, I mean, it's a very important position. It's going to be a lot of vetting, a lot of background that goes on. So I think you had read off in that letter that they announced that Kim Chido was going to be she's the current deputy director.
That's right.
And she's going to be the acting county administrator. So, this is not going to be a quick turnaround, but I think everybody would agree that we want to make sure we find somebody that has the right vision for Floyd moving forward. I mean, the county's in a very precarious position from finances to infrastructure. It's a time period that we need the right leadership, the person that's going to move Floyd in the right direction.
In the past couple of years, we've had some big expenditures. I mean, when the county moved over to the bank building, that was a $2 million purchase. And there was some issues you all may remember from last year with getting the tax tickets done in a particular way that they had to be redone. So there are some issues that obviously have come up. I don't know if that plays into anything.
Yeah, I hope whoever does come in comes in with some vision for the future of Floyd. And I also hope that they can build back a good working relationship with all the department heads.
Well, that's the main thing, is trying to work with everybody in the county. We've got a lot of good people here and running all these departments, and it's just a matter of getting everybody on board and pulling in the same direction.
We do, absolutely.
Just within the podcast with comments and things that we've talked about with people, at least from what I've gathered, it seems like the public's request too is they want more transparency too.
That's an ongoing thing there.
It is. Count this as a chance maybe for just a fresh start. Like Chad said, find somebody with a vision that has a vision for Floyd that's not just taking the role for a good salary or to ride out the last couple of years of retirement and they can ride off into the sunset because it's Floyd and they might find it easier or because we're a small town. But I really want somebody that's going to carry us forward in a productive and effective manner. It's got to be the right person. So if it takes a while, but they find the right person, then I think most people are going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Wish Miss Millsap's well and on her way, but it's like best to find somebody that's going to work with the county, and just wish the best for the Board of Supervisors in their search, because like you said, it's not going to be an easy one. It's going to take a little while to get through.
Keeping it in the county, though, Chad, if you've got some notes for the Board of Supervisors meeting, you're our...
Now, this was what we warned everyone about last week, so we know that if we get this right, this will be the part you can skip past.
Chad's actually bought stock in looking at reviving the Cliff Notes company because he's gotten so good at just taking Cliff Notes on these things. Take it away, Chad.
I might start my own new business.
You can buy Cliff Notes, get a free bin.
Yeah, that's right. For those new to the podcast, what I try to do is break this down start to finish, just how it's summarized in the meeting. That way, if there's something that interests you that you'd like to go back on their YouTube page and watch for yourself, you can. And you kind of know, hey, it was prior to the landfill discussion or it was after the courthouse discussion, just things of that nature. So let's get started here. Mark Bolt was the first speaker, and he spoke on the landfill grading plan. There's 2 bids received for grading. Lumsden and Associates was awarded that project at $34,000. And so that includes the survey, the site design, and the development plan. There was an estimated full grading projected cost somewhere between $90,000 and $130,000.
Ooh, that seems to add up pretty quick. Was it Lumsden that got the contract at 34?
Yeah, and
but that's just part of it.
the way I understand it, that's just surveys and site designs.
Oh, boy.
So your $34,000 isn't getting anything as far as any dirt being removed.
It's kind of your ticket in the door.
They voted on that, and it was approved unanimously. Mark touched on the tipping house construction.
Tipping house, not
Yes.
tipping cow.
Tipping house construction, yes. Early groundwork and utility prep proposal at that come in at $13,000, and it was also approved unanimously. So the tipping house will be when you come into the landfill, and you'll go through the tipping house and across the scales. So you'll be weighed coming in and weighed coming out.
Oh, I see. So this is going to be a little bit different from what we have at the moment.
This all ties back into what we talked about last week's episode, I believe, about the tire situation. Is this their answer to that and weighing things like that?
I think some of it, but I think a lot of it too is, contractors and different ones coming in with heavy loads of trash. They have to pay for that. I'm not sure about the general consumer, Johnny taxpayer.
Right.
If there's going to be any associated fees as far as if you clean your closet out and you take a bunch of stuff to the dump, if there's going to be a
That'll
fee
apply.
associated with that or not.
I'm just hoping we get to the point we can expand some of the hours. I know that a lot of people end up on Saturday afternoons driving out there to only find that it closed, 11:30 or noon on Saturday.
So the stormwater management and green area, that's an ongoing discussion with DEQ regarding a clean water pond versus a $24,800 water credit. The possibility of maintaining the area has fostered green space to reduce cost. So David Clark spoke with VDOT next, and there was some discussion there on the Reedsville project that's already in motion. Firehouse Road is next on the 6-year plan. If I understand it right, their intentions are to pave Firehouse Road.
Oh, really? All the way
Yeah,
through?
all the way through.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I thought that was one of the prerequisites, was it required a okay from all the property owners along that dirt section.
That was touched on, and I think there is possibly some way VDOT can get around that.
It's the amount of traffic.
There was a benchmark that they were looking for.
Yeah, so it's 50 vehicles per day, and that kind of limits some of the money that you can spend on some of these secondary roads because of the traffic. I have the traffic flow. So moving on from that, the supervisors spoke on just some requests they had from their district, from citizens, and they put in their requests on different roads that maybe needed attention or things of that nature. If there was potholes or branches in the road, cleanup needed, that was talked about. The next thing was the Peer Recovery Center, Rooted in Recovery launch. Are you familiar with this, Eric?
So, I know some people that are working on that because that's going to be associated with our drug court or recovery court program, that they're kind of people that are working with the folks that are going through that, kind of help expand services.
Yeah, do you remember Leroy Robbins? I know you do.
Oh, yeah, Leroy was,
He
he's a
was
remarkable
there.
fella.
Yeah, he was there. He was at the meeting along with Kayla Shelton and Jess Gomez.
Leroy, he's a heck of a story. So
He is.
he had a severe drug problem. He was one of the first people, one of the drug court participants over in Pulaski County. And eventually, some of his drug issues led to him now being confined to a wheelchair. But he has entirely turned around his life. And not only is he, graduate from the drug court program, he's become one of its number one advocates, and he works with numerous different projects to try to help people that have gone through that. And so Leroy has come here before. People may remember if they saw anything with him and Judge Long, that he and Judge Long worked closely to try to promote and spread the idea of the drug court program. Because drug court programs have been around for a while, but they kind of went silent for a while because people didn't have a good kind of working program to make them work, and particularly in rural areas.
Right.
And so it was Judge Long and another group, Lori Trail and some other people from the New River Valley Community Services put together this program that we're using here now, and that Leroy was the first person to graduate from, and he works very tirelessly going on helping people throughout all of the New River Valley.
And it's a self-testimony that the drug court program works.
It's not like it's 100%. There's nothing that's 100%.
You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
But you can provide it the opportunity to have a clean trough and fresh water.
It has been amazing to me. I've been prosecuting for close to 30 years, and I can tell you that I have never seen a program to have this level of success. And it's people like Leroy that do that, because he brings so much enthusiasm to it. And one of the issues, it's accountability. It's not, some of the earlier drug court programs, not only in Virginia but in other states, were focused mostly on put people into therapy and court stayed out of it. But the model here is more court heavy to kind of give people the carrot and the stick, but also lots of encouragement. And that's worked out really well.
Yeah. And to put a bow on it, that's going to be coming to Floyd. They're going to be partnering with our drug program, correct?
So this Peer Recovery Center, or Rooted in Recovery, they've launched their opening date, which is July 21st. It's their community awareness. And August 4th, they're having an open house.
Fantastic.
That is cool.
They presented their logo, mission, and vision, emphasis on support, healing, and community for individuals in recovery. They were wisely praised by the Board of Supervisors. One thing that, let me kick back to here, is the County Admin Building Security Plan was presented by Mark Bolt, and that estimated cost come out at about $14,500. So that includes your door alarms, your control buzzards, your signage, your secured entry.
Is that for the courthouse as well as the admin building?
Both. Yes,
okay.
That's right.
Well, I know that's been an issue for a long while.
Obviously, there's going to be a new protocol with only one entry to the rear of the courthouse once this is completed. And then across the street here, I think they've got like a buzzer system kind of in and out to be able to allow access there. It covers furniture, security cameras. All that was approved unanimously.
Do we have a start date that we're going to be looking at that for the courthouse?
I don't know that they have a projected date. They've kind of been running around getting these bids and trying to get the wheels in motion.
Yeah.
Naturally, they're going to have to get the door alarms installed. They're going to have to get the cameras installed, all that up and running. We're going to have to get our metal detector moved to the entrance. I would imagine, if I was guessing, middle of next month.
Is there going to be a deputy that's there, or do we know if that's going to be some other security personnel?
I thought maybe you would just sit out there on days you weren't in court.
People aren't afraid of me, Chad. I don't have those long arms.
Long arm of the law.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be a part-time funded position for a sworn law enforcement officer. They'll be staffed at that metal detector throughout the day, open to close, man. It's exciting work.
Good retirement gig for somebody, probably.
Yeah, it's going to take some getting used to for the public, as far as they've been so used to coming through this side door at the bank or, in the front entrance. Just not going to be able to do that.
Well, I mean, it's the 21st century. I can't think of any other surrounding and neighboring county that has that just free access like we've had. Unfortunately, we're catching up with the times.
Right. And I want to cling to, just like everybody else, that Floyd is Mayberry, but when reality hits, anything can happen at any time. We could be the next place for a critical incident that happens, and we got to be prepared for it. So I think it's a great thing.
There's the case with the threat on the clerk court that's coming up on October 1st.
We've covered that on here.
So there was the sheriff and myself both spoke at the board meeting. The sheriff gave updates on what's going on around the sheriff's office, and he discussed to the board his request to add a sergeant's position at animal control. I spoke on the impound lot and the needs there for a secured facility and being able to provide a safe location for vehicles that we would sees.
That's been something that's been going on for years now. It'd be nice to get that resolved.
Put that in, I guess, perspective for people that may not understand the lingo behind that. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Chad, because I'm just flying off the cuff here. But essentially, the point of this is that if the sheriff's office was working an active investigation or a case that involved, maybe it was a crime or something that happened in a vehicle, we need a secure place for that vehicle to be until the investigation is conducted, and that doesn't exist right now.
Some of the problem is that. Some of the problem is, let's say we seize a vehicle that was involved in a drug-related incident. We're responsible for that vehicle until it's either given back to the owner or it's awarded to us. And that's a lengthy process. I'm sure Eric can touch on that, but a lot of times that's, a year or two down the road before everything's said and done and through court. You've got to have your criminal side done and over with, completed before you can move on to the civil forfeiture. So it's a lengthy process. And, right now, if we take a vehicle, it goes to the landfill and it sets, out back, and weeds and grass grows up around it and mice get in it. I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm saying that's what could happen.
That's what could happen because you need to have a well-regulated facility. You keep an eye on things.
Exactly.
Like putting up cameras, make sure people aren't messing with them, that sort of thing. Not that that's been a problem in the past, but like I said, it's the 21st century. We
Kind of like
be
the
mindful
courthouse
of that.
security improvements. It's not about what's happened previously. It's about prepping and making sure that
making sure we don't have
forward.
a problem. Exactly.
So moving on, they moved to public comment. There was one person that spoke during public comment, and he spoke on DOT concerns and road conditions on Sandy Flats. He said he would be back at the next meeting to finish off his presentation. You only get 4 minutes to talk.
He run out of his time.
He run out of time.
This is not indicative of just one dirt road in the county. It's probably indicative of them all. But after a good rainstorm, those ditches wash out and they can get pretty rough pretty quick. I'm surprised there wasn't a line of people waiting to talk about Firehouse Road again.
So there was something about Eanes Road. You remember that was badly washed out after a bad storm a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
I don't know. Has that been taken care of? Do we know yet?
I do not know. I haven't seen anything about Eanes Road, so I'm going to assume not so, unless they went ahead and went out there and didn't.
Well, I remember it was in pretty bad shape. I haven't seen anything further on it.
On Harvestwood, I know this is getting off on a squirrel moment here, but VDOT had started notching gullies through the entire length of the road to create a place for that water to run on the hillsides, and that helped alleviate a lot of it, so you didn't get the washout. I don't know if that would, I don't know about Eanes Road, though.
I don't know. You can just about flip a coin, and the road somewhere along the lines needs some attention somewhere, whether it be potholes or the ditch or something.
Right.
But moving on, the cost estimate for insurance, there was a mistake there, and they had neglected to include law enforcement. That made up a dollar amount change from $108,000 to $157,000 annually. And this was the insurance change that the board had previously put in place to help out employment. Those who have families on the county's plan, it can be rather expensive. And so the county has decided to chip in and add some money there so that it alleviates some of that high monthly cost dealt out to these employees. So that associated cost it's went up almost $50,000. And there was some concern from one of the board members because this money was coming out of contingency funding. And they had already approved the $34,000 for the grading to come out of, forgive me, I can't say that word.
Contingency.
I got a list of those.
I just can't say that
Well,
word.
let's just skip it then.
So anyways, there was some concern that, hey, we're 8 days into this new physical year and we've already continuing to pull money out of there. And so they requested, what's the total in
the contingency funds.
And so that amount is a little over $500,000. So they ended up approving to pull that money out of there to pay for that difference for the cost of insurance. Moving on to new business, proposals for insurance risk pool was accepted renewal for VACOR. A motion was made and passed. There's a new road in the Valley Springs Drive, that was voted on and passed. There was a motion to approve original list and amended list and legislation priorities that passed 5-0. They approved the county carryover requests, and they went on an 8-minute break. So when they come back, there was a motion made to move into closed session.
Now, this was all done last Tuesday morning, right?
That's correct.
Okay. That was the 8th.
When they come out of closed session, they make a motion to certify that only the things that they talked about were in closed session, and the board normally votes on it. And one of the board members voted no to that. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Eric?
That's clearly one that's been an issue people have had with that before, because the closed sessions have gone on kind of unnaturally long in some circumstances. There's been concern people have raised about what's going on. because closed session can only be about a very narrow topic. And
By law, correct?
By law. I've had some people raise issues with me with that before, and that's part of one of the Commonwealth's duties. So we'll have to see how things go with that, what kind of information comes forward, because if things are being talked about improperly in the closed session, then that's something that bears further digging into, and then we'll see what happens. And violations of that in Virginia, they're civil fines, but it is one of the duties of the Commonwealth Attorney's Office to enforce that.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
The Floyd County Social Services Board for Indian Valley appointed Patty Quesenberry. There was a motion made for that. She was appointed to that board, and the motion carried. They moved on to board time, where Jerry thanked everyone who planned the 4th of July Festival. I know, Lucas, I think you touched on that last week about, how successful it was. They had a lot of vendors.
Oh, it was
big crowd.
Oh, my gosh, there was a ton of people there.
Then they touched on the County Administrator's report, which I can run through this pretty quickly.
Okay.
They give an update on the radio tower, the audit report, DEQ audit, the Gardner Road.
Because that's an ongoing situation.
Yeah. I think there was a FOIA request that was lodged for the county over that. They discussed their meeting with Senator Stanley, EMS application for achievement award. And here's one for you. Does anybody know what a turf tank is? Do you know what a turf tank is?
No. Is it something that was it used in World War II?
What's your thought, Lucas?
I'm going to guess that if anybody knows, that might be a Parks and Rec department.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So a turf tank is basically an automatic line marker for the ball field.
Oh.
And there was some discussion there from the high school possibly going in with the rec department and buying a turf tank. That piece of equipment, I think, can get fairly expensive depending on how technical you want it to be. But that was discussed. Blue Ridge Rising event and Floydfest updates. And that's it.
Floydfest is all set then to go ahead, in about a week and a half?
Yes, we're not too far from it, are we?
Yeah.
It's coming up. Anybody listening to the podcast knows come through that area of town, which traffic last year, I didn't find it to be terrible coming through there. It was congested and slowed down in points. It was a temporary lowered speed limit through there, which
Right.
caused traffic to naturally slow down, obviously. But I don't remember any issues of traffic bottlenecking or anything like
If
that.
I remember right, they had like one problem, and that was there was a storm or something that come through, and they locked the festival down, and it caused some traffic to back out in the road. I believe that was the only issue they had as far as traffic stopping on the main road.
I went by it several times, and it was backed up once from my experience, but other than that, it didn't back up more than that once, and I went by probably half a dozen times.
I know there was a lot of concerns leading up to it about the traffic, which I think statistically that stretch of road's pretty high up there with accidents anyway, statistically, I think, across the state. People were concerned with it being a 55-mile-an-hour zone, and there was a lot of different concerns, but at the end of the day, it worked out all right.
At one time, 221 was named one of the deadliest roads in Virginia for that year. I think it was back in 2004 or 5, but there was roughly 13 fatalities that year.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it can be a dangerous road to travel.
Oh, yeah.
Those concerns were completely validated.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that.
I've had to go up and down Bent Mountain and on a daily basis at some point. Anybody's done that realizes just how dangerous that can be.
Yeah. All right. Well, that takes care of the Board of Supervisors meeting. Another headline topic that we've talked about here in the Floyd Main Street podcast that generated some comments and feedback from the public here was the announcement that Dino's, there was an ICE arrest.
Oh, right.
They had
That's
deported
right, yes.
an employee of Dino's. But I am here to happily report that Dino's restaurant has reopened.
So as far as our Facebook reporting that I've seen is, and people are excited to see it.
When did
So
they reopen?
I don't know if it's been a week
About
yet
a
or
week.
not.
It's
Yeah.
been about a week.
I do know, I talked to somebody that drove by there. It was either the evening that they reopened or the day after. And she told me that you couldn't find a space to park there, that it was packed. It was absolutely
great.
packed. So I think people were happy to show up and give them their business. So make sure you go get you a Euro from Dino's because
I just call them gyros.
gyros, okay. More popularly known as a gyro, but that's what they're kind of famous
Pronounce
for.
it how you read it, right?
Yeah, you read it. That's right.
Stonewall Road, who knows about that? VDOT's announced, I think there's some stuff coming up, correct? That there's going to be some closure?
Yeah, that's right. The beginning of the month here, roughly through August 1st. The road will be closed on Stonewall Road between Eanes Road and Double Springs Road.
I mean, Double Springs and Eanes, that's probably, a mile and a half stretch maybe from end to end right there you're talking about. So people that live in that area need to plan accordingly that travel through that way.
That's going to be good. Yeah, that's like one of
It's
the
a good
main ways
stretch.
that when I'm having to go over to Christiansburg, and that Stonewall quite a bit.
Stonewall to Daniel's Run that
Daniel's Run.
becomes... All right. It's summer in Floyd, which means we got a lot of music to talk about. Yeah. And we'll see if we can do this in chronological order to keep you in line with everything coming up. We'll start with Friday night.
Next Friday.
Yeah, Friday night we'll start at Dogtown. They're hosting Matt Mullins and the Bring Downs at Dogtown. They'll be starting that show at 8 o'clock. I believe they had announced they were some alt country, a little bit of rock influence to them. Sounds like a pretty good show.
That'll mix it up from all the folk music out on the streets.
Yeah, you'll typically find quite a contrasting genre if you go into Dogtown on a Friday night versus what the country store will have offered, but it just makes downtown a diverse place in Floyd. There's going to be music for everybody. Saturday, the Thrillbillies are going to be at Dogtown. I have seen this band posted a lot. They have a pretty open description about them, is that there are no borders or limitations. So I'm not sure what you'll hear.
Kind of alarming.
I do know that they are, here in the region, they're a really popular band. I see them booked everywhere, so there's something good about them.
What kind of music do they play, do you know?
Sounds like everything.
I can only tell you that it comes without borders or limitations.
This is your opportunity.
You look like an opera guy, Eric.
Oh, you know me. Can't pass up a good opera.
Yeah.
I was hooked ever since watching Bugs Bunny.
We always said this podcast ain't over until the fat lady sings, which was typically an opera reserved comment, so... All right, Saturday, country stores continuing their Americana afternoons. Next Saturday, July 19th, they will be hosting Americana afternoons with Barry, Cat Mills, and the Mud Flaps. And that will be from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then that night, if you're not interested in that show or can't make it, one of our production team members, John, was discussing this earlier, how unique this sounded. But Saturday night, July 19th at Dogtown, 7 p.m., Corey Harris and Cedric Watson, an evening of music and conversation. And when I read that out when we were doing our big board before the show, John looked over at us and he said, that sounds like a blues artist. And so let me scroll down and read the description here. And sure as the world, he's a blues singer and songwriter. And the Cedric Watson was described as a Cajun Creole type of blues, which is a super pleasure listening experience if you've ever listened to that specific subgenre of blues music. So if that's something to be interested in, check that out. That's Saturday night at Dogtown. Moving on to...
Well, I see we got some things at the country store.
They do. Friday Night Jamboree. We've got a headliner next Friday night, July 18th, Friday Night Jamboree with Mac Trainum and the Farleys. Mac Trainum's a local name that's been playing around here for years. He's been heavily involved in the community. It's a great place to check him out. And I think I'd covered there Saturday at the country store, so we'll got a little bit out of order there, but that should cover it for the country store and Dogtown. I know the Buffalo Mountain Brewery has artists coming up. I didn't see anything specifically listed yet for there.
Now, you mentioned somebody called Mud Flaps.
Americana afternoons. That's the Saturday afternoon thing at the country store. You've got Cat Mills, Barry, and the Mud Flaps. Chad made the comment pre-show about where in the world do they come up with these things? And I think I remember being at least a young teenager in the garage band days of we've got to come up with the most obtuse, obscure name possible because that's the only thing that's going to stick. We got to sound cool. If it was catchy or stereotypical, it wasn't cool. So I think the weirder the better is the vibe with that when you're trying to think of a name.
Mud Flaps is pretty close.
Yeah.
It is.
Probably wouldn't be my first choice, but hey.
Hey, I'll take it. That's going to be Saturday afternoon.
And Saturday evenings, always, during the summer at the Wildwood.
Oh, yeah. Wildwood.
5 to 7.
Yep. Great music. And that's a good community event too, because I know I've talked to people that have went there and didn't really know it was kind of a come one, come off. You have the ability to pick up a guitar, banjo, mandolin, whatever, just hop in and play.
Well, that's on the music jams. They do the Sundays, the bluegrass jams. Yeah.
Let me clarify on that. That is Sunday afternoon. Don't show up Saturday evening with a banjo expecting to play.
They may let you get up on stage.
They might if you're good enough.
Yeah. We'll move on to some events coming up. Some are familiar with you. We've got some new ones coming up, and we want to give you enough heads up notice about the Tractor Fun Run.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's not until next month, Eric.
No, it's something like, I think we're at 14 or 15 years now that we've been doing the tractor fun run, and it's been terribly popular. Great fun to just sit and watch all those tractors go by. People forget it's a fundraiser. Mm-hmm. This year, it's got two people in particular it's raising funds for. Do you know who those folks are, Chad?
Yeah, so the first one will be Josiah Cochran. Most everybody's familiar with his situation. Mm-hmm. I know we've reported on him several times. And Madison Zeman is the other person that this benefit will.
Now, generally, this is going to take off early in the morning, like about, what's again, 9 or maybe might go as late as 10, but I know everybody starts gathering over off Christiansburg Pike. And so that's where it takes off from. Now, I don't know what the plan this year is because it's had different times. Sometimes they've gone down Franklin Pike. Yeah. Sometimes they've gone over.
I think they changed the route pretty much yearly. It's a big event, and it's stayed that way, which is amazing to me. Since they first put this together till now, it always draws a big crowd.
Yeah. It does. It's so long, you can find places you can kind of find a place to sit and just watch all the tractors go by and wave at the people you know, because there's always people I know on there.
Yeah.
I want to see Julius Dickerson going by on his tractor, if everybody knows Julius.
I don't know. It's nostalgic and a lot of different feelings in one, but you see one of those, maybe an old John Deere, an old Ford tractor that's been restored, and it's the tractor's 60, 70 years old, but it's in mint condition, and I think it's just neat. And the fact that doing that in a rural community, and it's doing it for a good cause. Mm-hmm. And I think Mrs. Eamon, she's battling cancer. Mr. Cochran is still recovering from his horrible car accident that he was in. So yet again, just like with the fundraisers that we had recently for Mrs. Fox, it's a great cause and there's a need. And when those two things exist in our county, people show up.
People show up. That's right. It's the community here.
Citizens
is having a cruise in.
Time for another one.
Floyd in summer is cruise ins.
It is.
Lots of cruise ins.
It is. I went to the last one. I got there a little bit early before the crowd showed up. Took the wife
and
baby.
Those typically start?
4 to 7. I have seen a bit of a discrepancy. My wife pointed it out to me. I wanted to make sure that they listed as 4 to 7 on Facebook, but other outlets she has seen that they list it from 5 to 7, which would explain why when we were there at 4, there wasn't nearly as many people. When we left about 5 o'clock and people were really starting to roll in. Might find some clarification on that. We'll report back next week's episode. But it's listed on Facebook, and the next one's coming up Saturday, July 19th, and that's 4 to 7 at Citizens. Another great opportunity to come check out. And even if you don't bring a vehicle, I found that there's people that don't bring vehicles that'll show up, pull out a lawn chair, and just hang out.
Exactly. Well, they like to talk cars. I mean,
Do they have any food trucks or anything there?
The last cruise in, Citizens had a couple of their employees there on the Blackstone, and they were grilling up hamburgers and hot dogs.
Oh, cool.
Grilling out, and that, boy, they smelled good. That Blackstone, and the wind was just, I picked a place to sit in which the wind was just blowing.
Maybe they have the best hot dog in Floyd.
I've had a few more votes on that. We weren't sure how many we were getting.
Did we get a few more? It was a little sad. I think the number one vote was Floyd doesn't have a good hot dog.
And Simmons Grocery, which don't sell them anymore.
Which doesn't sell them anymore. Yeah. What was the ones
I've
you've
had
seen?
A couple more come in. It was a split between Smith's and Wildwood. So it sounds like that's what it's going to come down to.
They're top runners.
They're the top runners there. Well,
good. Okay.
We'll wait to close that out because I know that we'll see a surge for one or the other here soon.
Yeah. I would say, the last hot dog that I had in the county was at Smith's. Terry fixed me a pretty good hot dog.
I'm going to have to get out there and try theirs. I haven't had a hot dog out there in a number of years.
We'll just have to designate a certain day to be the weenie day.
Hey, yeah. Maybe we'll all load up, ride the check, get a hot dog.
There you go.
Yeah, I like it. And Wildwood coming up that next day. If you don't make it to Citizens on Saturday the 19th, then Sunday 7/20, they're doing that music jam we talked about at Wildwood and a cruise in, which is really cool. It combines two of the really cool things about Floyd that people really get involved in: cruise ins, right? Old cars and trucks, and good old time mountain music. You put those two together with some good food, call it Wildwood.
You had some tractors in there, you'd have everything. You'd have it all covered.
You'd have a country song is what you'd have.
Well, you're the songwriter here.
I think your dog's got to get run over and a couple other things first. Before mom's got to be in prison or something.
All right, David. But that should cover it for the events. We're a little light on that this week, but there's a lot of the standard stuff that you know about and seen with these cruise-ins and stuff happening. Friday night downtown in Floyd is
Oh, you can't be beat.
We can talk
Can't
about
be
that
beat. That's just
every
fantastic.
episode. But with the soda fountain, me and my wife talked about that. That was a cool little thing, just to walk the street. You don't even have to pay to get in if it's a ticketed show at the country store. If you're not looking to spend money and keep it cheap, you can park your car and just get out and walk. And still have a fantastic evening.
And for ice cream, if you haven't been by Floyd Express, their expanded ice cream services.
They've expanded a lot. In general, they've got their lunch and dinner specials.
It is the Floyd County Buc-ee's right there.
Little Buc-ee's, yeah,
Little
that's what I
Buc-ee's.
call it.
I like it. Henceforth, I will never call it anything other than Little Buc-ee's. I love it. Hope you're listening, Dustin. All right, so that's going to cover it for this week, though. Again, as always, I'm going to thank our production team, John Velitis, Big Country Cockerel. I appreciate everything y'all do. Y'all are the MVPs. Listeners get tired of me saying that. The only thing I can tell you is I'm sorry, because they are. They're the MVPs. Thank you to our listeners. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Any platform that you get podcasts, that's where you'll find us. Be sure to check us out. And if you got anything coming up that you want talked about on the podcast, an event, yard sale, it doesn't matter what it is, send us a message. Send us a comment. We want to hear back from you. We want to hear feedback. We want to know about those things. Don't hesitate. But until next time, take care of yourself and take care of the ones you love.
I'll see y'all.
Bye.
From the hollers and the hills where Appalachia shines, a little place called Floyd, where a friend of yours is a friend of mine. Welcome to Floyd, where stories unfold in the heart of Appalachia, treasures untold.